We believe in personal brand. Corporate estate agencies, they might allow their agents to do social media, but they will not allow them to build a personal brand.
The winning mindset starts right from the top.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to have that mentality. Why did Fergie have that mentality? Because he wanted to be the best.
Welcome, guys. So this is the Real Estate All Stars podcast, and this is episode 7, which is going to be your top tips to success in luxury real estate. I am joined here with Sam Samad. So those of you have probably seen him popping up all over social media with Tyra Nash Real Estate. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you, Ty. Pleased to be here.
So yeah, I think, I'm happy to have you here, mate. And to be honest, what an impact you've made in your first I know you've been in the industry a long time, but certainly within the partnership with Tyra Nash Real Estate, it's only been a few months, but it's been a really, really amazing first few months. So just talk us before we get into it, a bit of an introduction of yourself and kind of your background and sort of what's led you up to the success you've been having recently and some of the successes you've had.
Yeah, so I've been in this now for just over 21 years.
Amazing.
15 years of that has been corporate background.
Yeah.
I ran my own company for best part of 6 years, which is still in the background. Then I decided to join the partnership with Tyra Nash. And one of the key things that really drove me to the decision is, I didn't want to be the agent being left behind. And really embracing social media and what it stands for, what it believes. And I thought, who better to partner up with than Tyra Nash.
And the guy shouting his mouth off on social media.
Impact in itself.
Yeah. Well, look, I think, and that again is a subject we could easily get in deep into, which we have done before. But certainly one of the highlights that definitely sticks out is you smashing in that £5 million sale, which I think is definitely a good way to get off the mark, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, it's all about delivering the promise that we give to our clients on a regular basis. And it's lovely to actually see the fruits of it. When you've sat down with a client, you spoke about what it is that you want to achieve. And on the day, you've actually done and gone beyond the expectation of the seller and yourself.
100%, 100%. You were up against a few kind of agents on that one. You've outperformed them in an unbelievably quick time. And actually that kind of leads us on to what this podcast is about. So, that's some amazing signs of success. And I know you had masses of it in your previous roles as well as your other business. So we're actually going to get onto the top tips for being a successful luxury real estate agent. And I think we're going to kick off with the first one, which is something I know you believe in strongly, which is your mindset. So, how important is having the right mindset in luxury real estate?
I mean, in any part of business, if you have got that mentality to actually absolutely win everything, whether you're winning someone's heart, someone's mind, someone's soul, the question is, how far do you take it? Now, I've been very privileged that I've always had a sales background, and it all started off in Dixon's as a part-timer. I was taking on the full-timers. The biggest sale that I did there was 300 PlayStations. Getting the logistics right and everything. But do you know what? I wanted to get that sale in. I wanted to be the first one to actually say, do you know what? I haven't sold 1 unit. I've sold 300 units.
And for those that don't know, because obviously we're probably showing our age here, I obviously remember it, but Dixon's would have been an electrical store that you actually, so if you wanted to walk in and buy a PlayStation or an Xbox or what other, there was hi-fis, things like that. They'd have shops.
VCR videos.
Oh God, man. Now we're really showing our age. So so you'd have been. So that's when you kind of the hunger and the mentality sort of started. So I think we've obviously spoken a lot about having a winning mindset. Now, I believe that resonates massively. I think a lot of the big real estate agents across the world, they often, when I hear them talk, they often resonate very, very closely with, or really closely with top performing sports athletes. Why do you think the two align so closely?
Oh, very much. I mean, my role model in life is my father. As a hard-working, profession that he was in the rag trade, I took all of that from him.
Amazing.
But in the working world, I love football, and there's no hiding from that. Everyone that knows me, I'm a massive United fan. We probably dropped all the viewing levels by me saying that. But I'm a massive United fan, and people will tell you I come from the school of Fergie. Alex Ferguson, everyone that doesn't know him, 26 years reign. He's won 13 Premiership titles, 5 FA Cups. and to Champions League, which I was lucky enough to actually be in at least 2 of them as well, and seen him obviously lift the cup. So that winning mindset really comes from the way Fergie controls absolutely everything. Now, you look at the way football is today, now it's been relaxed. The discipline out of the game is obviously gone. There's more player power than obviously management power. So discipline starts right from the top. The winning mindset starts right from the top. You know, you've got to have that mentality. Why did Fergie have that mentality? Because he wanted to be the best, you know, and on paper now, he is probably arguably the best manager that we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Oh, I think he's definitely up there. And I think when you look at kind of, you know, I mean, he's an amazing example. And I think that you even kind of look at like, you know, other athletes, like you've got, you know, footballers like Cristiano Ronaldo, you've got like Michael Jordan in basketball. You know, the list kind of goes on with regards to the excellence that people have produced. And the one thing I think, whether they're managers, whether they're players, that they've all kind of had in common is they've got a mindset that's far, far more driven than the people around them. And I think some of the attributes that come with that mindset, one of them that really sticks out for me is discipline. I believe that discipline, I know that Fergie had a lot of discipline in that team. He would drop players if he caught them partying, if he caught them doing things they shouldn't do. They had to be early for training. They had to be early for match days. I know very, very much so that he ran a very, very tight ship. And it wasn't a tight ship of micromanagement. It was a ship of excellence, you know, that you had to be, you know, you even hear like players like Roy Keane talking when he talked about his Man United days. And he hates even players shaking hands and, you know, like doing all that pally stuff before games because he thinks everyone should want to win so much and there's no friends on the field and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's kind of a lot of what our culture is actually at Tyrone Ash Real Estate, is that I think we're all, you know, we're all in it together as a team, but we all have that discipline and mindset where we know we're up against the rest of the world. We're taking on the estate agency and luxury real estate industry. And that comes from within, doesn't it?
No, definitely. And I think, look, once you've got the winning mindset, really is discipline that actually gets you across the line.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned obviously a couple of players there. I mean, for me at that time was David Beckham. And then to follow on from there, CR7, Cristiano Ronaldo. And it just so happens to be the 7 episodes. So there's a bit of an alignment there as well. So look, these guys train. And anyone that's known me in the corporate world would have seen me discipline my staff to a certain level where I'd push them to the absolute brink where they feel as though, do you know what, I can't give it anymore, because that's all you can ask of.
Of course.
And they would do it religiously, you know, within that period of time. And yes, you know, it wasn't great partying or anything like that. And I'd always say to them, there's always a time and a place to enjoy it.
Of course.
So discipline comes in obviously various categories. One thing is achieving your ambition and goal. And secondly, it's your personal life, to make sure that it's not led by people that don't really want you to be successful.
Absolutely.
You know, so part and parcel of obviously that discipline is, you know, your environment and who you surround yourself with.
Yes, I think I couldn't agree more. I think that, like, for me, firsthand, you know, I think that when you are around people who are successful or are trying to be successful and are on the journey of being successful, whether they are or they're not, it doesn't matter. It's all about what direction you're all going in. Are you encouraging each other to get better? Are you self-developing together? Are you helping each other get to where you want to go? And I think that is a massive thing. And I also think what comes into the mindset side of a successful real estate agent is being discipline with your time. So when your day starts, you know, are you letting the day happen to you, or have you organized the day and made sure that it actually, you get out of that day what you need to get out of it? And I think that is where your mindset comes in, your organization comes in, and that's what kind of you know, is a massive thing. You've got to have a big, and the other thing, just to finish on the mindset, is what is your reason why? Because this is a hard fucking job. I don't care what anyone's got to say. It's a hard fucking job. And you've got to have a pretty big driver to make you get up in the morning and go through what we go through on a daily basis.
No, definitely. Look, I'm the eldest son in my family, and with that came obviously a lot of responsibility. You know, my parents, I come from a background where they're working class, and to see them go through obviously what they did. I've got 10 brothers and sisters. You can imagine how many hours my father would work in order to obviously achieve that. Yeah. And for me, it was like, I want to get to a situation where he doesn't need to stress anymore. Now he's doing all the things that he loves doing, being a community leader that he is, helping people with disputes and what have you not. So there's a lot of stuff obviously that I've learned from him. My why reasons are that, look, I don't want to be living in a council flat, living in a single room, sharing with my brothers and sisters, which I did. Yeah. And I think that was really, what drove me to say, do you know what? I want to do this, and I want to do it for the right reasons. But not only that, I want to help as many people along the way.
I think that's great. I know you do a lot of charity work, which is fantastic. And I think that you've got to have a big reason why. Now, that varies for a number of people. It could just be that you want to better your life. It could be that you're a single mother or father, or that you just want to provide a better life for your children or for your parents. You might want to pay your parents' mortgage off. You might want to buy your brother or sister a car. You might want to pay their university fees. There's all sorts of different reasons. You could just be shallow reasons that you want more and you want to buy a car, or you want to buy a house, or whatever it is. But the reality is it's got to drive you to get up and work 10 times harder than what someone normal would work. And I think that sort of spills over into the entrepreneurship side, because real estate agents work 10 times harder than a normal estate agent, and that is facts, figures and data. You can see that with what they earn, you can see that with the responsibility they take, and also the risk they take with going into this industry. So I think probably that nicely brings us on to point number 2. Point number 2 is, for me, structure and organization. How important is it to be structured in this industry?
Yeah, without structure, how are you going to fulfill that ambition that you've got? There's got to be a clear-cut vision of what it is that you want to achieve. The clearer that picture is, the easier the task becomes.
Yes.
So targets have to be written.
Yes.
Time management, when you're going to achieve different aspects of the business in order to make sure that you achieve it. Now, I would first of all allow my team to obviously structure themselves in order to see what obviously works for them. And what I found in the past, if it doesn't work for them, I'd actually give them the structure, because I know actually what works. And there used to be a time where I used to put the board in the corner. It used to be known as the naughty corner. And I'd get people to tick off, right, you've done that for this morning, now's the next task. No one liked being on that board, because it's like, oh, I don't want to be on that board. But the point is, they delivered the structure. So in the mornings, it'll be nothing but prospecting, which I think one of the things that we want to discuss. But at that time, it was canvassing. For me, it was obviously prospecting at that time. And then it's the call out. Making sure that you do regular call outs of the people that you've got within your database, new inquiries coming in. So every part of the day needs to be structured, and it needs to be timed accordingly so you don't miss anything.
I think for me, one of the big things I've seen, and this is either when I've worked in offices or when I've worked in real estate or even within our own business, is you get people who they organize themselves to the hour, to the minute, and then what they do is, in that set period of time, in that time blocked period, they know that by the end of that hour, the end of that 2 hours, they've got to achieve X amount of market appraisals booked with sellers, or it might be that they need their contracts chasing up, it might be they need a deal tied up, it might be whatever it is that they put as the structure to get that result. They're the people that succeed. What you'll find is you'll get certain people and they go, oh my God, I've been so busy. And I'll go, well, what have you got to show for it? What was the actual result? And they're the people that fail. I call them busy fools. And what they'll do is, I remember, and I'll give you a great story, right? So I remember when I worked in this high street estate agent, I won't say the name of it, but it was Connells. But this was years ago, many years ago. And I remember, like, there was this guy, and I've got to be honest, like, I've got kind of, and I wasn't a model professional back then, but certain people used to irritate me, and he used to irritate me, and he used to sit there and just stare at his computer screen, his big fuck off computer screen on the desk, and tap away like this, tap away at this, tap away at this. And I used to ignore it and all this, but like, our office was behind, and I was selling a lot of houses, and we weren't winning awards and stuff like that because our office was behind. And I remember just like, I think I had a deal fall out of bed that day, and I could see him staring at and I just said, what the fuck are you staring at? Like you look at that screen intently, like your eyes are squinted as if you're doing something every day. And show me what's on your screen. There's nothing. You don't sell anything. And I was like, what are you actually doing? You always look busy, but you're not busy, are you? You're not doing anything. And it was like, that's what people do because they're in corporate environments. They get paid by the clock, so they've got to look like they're busy. And if you do that in your own business in luxury real estate, you can look as busy as you fucking want. If there's no results, then the whole thing is pointless. It goes up in smoke. And I think that that sort of structure and commitment is so important because when you organise yourself, you're effectively organising yourself to achieve your result. When you achieve the result, then you move your business forward. If you don't achieve the result, your business stays where it is. And that's why I totally agree. I think structure and organising yourself is absolutely a massive, massive point.
What you just said there about someone tapping away,
Yeah.
the business that we run, I mean, you can tap away, you can do an email. How quick is it to pick up that phone, engage in a conversation rather than 50 emails to get a 5-minute conversation across?
Oh, the amount of time they go, oh, I've just sent an email. So, how many? Do you know how much business I've won on an email? 0. That's how many I've won on an email. That's how many. Don't get me wrong. When it's agreed and they've gone, oh, email the terms over. Yeah, that's not the email's not won the business. The meeting or the phone calls won the business. It gets done when people look into the whites of my eyes and understand that the process that I'm about to deliver for them to get the best possible price for their home far outweighs what a normal estate agent can do. And that is where the value comes in. You will not get that on a few paragraphs in an email. It won't happen. No. So point number 3 on this, Sam, and I think you'll like this one, is knowledge and being the most knowledgeable person in your marketplace. So talk to me about being knowledgeable in real estate.
I think knowledge is absolutely everything. It develops level of trust.
Yes.
It creates the level of credibility.
Oh, absolutely.
And the more you show, the more people want to deal with you. Now, anyone can turn around and say, oh, it's a buoyant market. But why is it a buoyant market? What's the reasons behind it? Bringing it back to a football analogy, I always say, my office is a theatre of knowledge where dreams are made.
More Man United fans. Yeah.
and it is. You can self-teach yourself. Sorry, you can. This can be self-taught, or you can learn it from a mentor.
Yes.
The question is, where do you acquire that knowledge? You've got to be thirsty for knowledge. Now, when I used to go through the recruitment process, I would never take on anyone that's done the job before because I just feel as though they come with, bad habits. I'd want to train them from scratch. And one of the key things that I used to do before, if you wasn't a graduate, I wouldn't employ you. Obviously, that changed over the course of time because I saw it. But my key thing was taking on a graduate because the way I would run my seminars, it's like being back at school, being in a lecture hall, if you like, asking questions, developing my team to the absolute brink of, if they were to come across any situation, they've got an answer for.
Yeah,
because when you're out there viewing with your clients and you're viewing with your customers, there's no one else but yourself to defend yourself.
Yeah, and I think if you sat there and you're stumbling and you're umming and ahhing, and also I think, with knowledge, one of the things you talked about was credibility. Credibility for me is the most important thing that people are looking for when they're looking to select their luxury real estate agent. We're talking about people who've got a 2 million, 3 million, 4 million pound plus asset to sell, and they've potentially been receiving what they believe is the standard level of service from a luxury estate agent on the high street, when the reality is I've heard some horror stories from some of these very well-known established corporate high street estate agents where the person has come to the house to do the viewing, doesn't even understand anything about the house, doesn't even know which room's behind what door or how big the house is or any history behind the house or anything like that. And then when they're getting asked these questions, the owners are literally overhearing this estate agent completely with no knowledge about the property that they're selling, and have had to almost come through one of the doors and go, oh, I know the answer to that. Let me help you with this. Let me show you around. Because they're that nervous about this, person with zero knowledge on the product they're selling, trying to sell a £3 million house. It's mental. And I think that, we absolutely make sure we are the leaders in our knowledge and leaders of knowledge. And when we go into meetings with owners, these are people who aren't even our clients yet. We would have done so much research and evidence and data to actually show them, you know, the sales trends in their area, the pound per square foot, you know, the where that aligns within the market itself right now, and how that's aligning with, you know, mortgage companies down valuing properties, all these different components that are going on around the market. We will have these open in discussion points with the owners. They know accurately where their property is going to achieve in the market. Now, the great thing is we can give them the worst part of it, we can give them the best part of it, but the great thing is as our strategy comes into this, because of our knowledge, it's not just about knowing your market, it's about having a strategy that's going to get them the highest price within that market. Absolutely. And that's where our knowledge comes in. So with knowledge, we talk about self-development. How important do you value self-development in being successful in real estate?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest investment is yourself.
Yeah.
You know, we spend a lot of money buying luxury goods or items that we feel as though it's going to increase in value, but how much time do we spend on ourselves? You know, because the biggest investment, it should be yourself, whether it's through courses or podcasts or books that you would read. I wasn't the biggest fan of podcasts or books, but having joined the Tyron Ash partnership, it's amazing to see how the senior partners and the other people that are involved in the business actually really take on the podcast really seriously. Now, when I did this job, it was a self-belief, it was the winning mindset in actually delivering it. And I remember saying, you know, look, listen to Ryan Serhant, listen to Grant Cardone, Tom Panos, and I'd be like, do you know what? I might just listen to it. And what the amazing thing was, having now listened to them, it actually gave me validation, Ty, to say, for all these years that I've been doing, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, I was actually on the right path.
Yeah,
now,
that's good.
It's amazing that to see that I've been on the right path. But now for the people that are coming in, as you said, we train the people that we take on to the absolute brink of knowledge and understanding the process and everything, and what better to learn it from the experts, and that is self-development in itself.
100%. That's brilliantly put. And I think one of the things I think I heard Tony Robbins say it many years ago, and it was that success leaves clues. And all you need to do to be successful is to find a recipe. He used the terminology or the is a metaphor of like a chocolate cake, an analogy, of a chocolate cake. And what he basically says is, you know, if you don't know how to bake a chocolate cake, you could do one of a few things. You could kind of guess the ingredients, get some milk, get some eggs, get some chocolate, get some flour, whatever the hell goes into it. I clearly don't know how to make one.
You know how to make a chocolate cake.
I know how to eat
remember
chocolate.
when I was fasting.
And then you can put it in the oven, probably burn it, probably whatever, and then you can keep trying. In like 2-3 years, you might finally get a chocolate cake that's edible or whatever it is. Or what you can do is you can literally find a professional baker who bakes chocolate cakes for a living, find their recipe, literally follow their recipe to the absolute letter, and then when you put that recipe into the oven to bake, it will come out, in an ideal world, exactly how it's supposed to come out as a perfect chocolate cake. Well, that is business. You know, you follow the recipe for how successful people in real estate are, you know, enjoying their success. You implement it into your own activities day to day, along with what we're teaching here at Tyron Ash, and the combination of the two results in absolute excellence, and that's what we're doing. And I think that self-development is just so, I mean, I love self-development. I think, why would you listen to some gangster rapping about bitches and drugs when you could listen to, you know, someone telling you how to become a multimillionaire?
No, definitely. I mean, businesses do on a regular basis. I mean, they call it a SWOT analysis, identifying their strengths, their weakness, opportunities, and threat. Who's to say you can't do a SWOT analysis on yourself?
Yeah,
identifying the strength. If you're really good at something, teach someone else.
Yeah, I always think that when I like explain something to someone, it like reinforces, it has this solid like feedback loop where it reinforces it, because I'm saying it, I'm verbally putting it out there, and then I'm reinforcing my knowledge of it. And I think that is absolutely key. And I also think that when you learn something, the key thing is, because I always feel like there's people in business are, the successful people are the doers, and then you get the other people who are like, they just read, but they never implement it. So it's finding that balance. When you get that information, you've got to implement it, because I feel like there is a window between it going into your head, and then it will give you a window of opportunity to implement it or structure it into your business and into your life, or it will kind of just disappear. And that is the key. The successful people implement, they do, and then they execute the plan. And that's how where the self-development comes into it, definitely. So the fourth major tip that we've got to really hammer down and knuckle down on is prospecting. So I had a chat with a very, very high billing, top billing real estate agent from the States. And weirdly, I've had similar chats with similar people to this in different countries and across the world. And I said, what's the one tip that you would give someone to be successful in luxury real estate? It had to be anything. And everyone come back with prospecting and follow-up. So talk to me about, if you was to advise someone on how to, you've sold a £5 million house, well, that come from prospecting. So, where do you start with prospecting?
I mean, firstly, don't be scared of it. Two people are frightened to actually have a conversation face to face.
Yes.
Cold callers, it's phone to phone, but to actually meet someone face to face, the value that you've got there is you've seen what's in front of you. You're having that level of conversation. You automatically have jumped through at least 3 or 4 hoops to actually be in front of someone. Because the idea is whenever you want to meet someone, you have to go through an email, then maybe a phone call, and then you're meeting them. But wait a minute, you're actually face to face with them now.
Yeah, I mean, I get so many emails. I just to put in an email them. Do you know how many emails I get in a day? The only time I'll do is I'll look at the titles, I'll realise I'm not interested in any of them, and then if it's urgent, someone will ring me and say, you haven't replied to that email, reply to it. That is my process with emails, because I just haven't got time to fucking read people's shit. Like, if it's really important, you'll ring me. And I think that is unfortunately how most people work. They, unless it's seriously important, they won't read the email. Of course, with us and with agents, we get emails through leads, all that sort of stuff. That's different. But I'm talking about prospecting and all that sort of stuff. The bottom line is you've got to get credible conversations going with people. So one of the big things we are very, very big on is door knocking. We call it door knocking, but the reality is it is relationship building. It might not it's not a hit and run sell. We're talking about getting to know people who are in our market, helping them understand that as much as they've been on the market for 3 months or 6 months and probably feel like this is how you sell a house, there is a better option out there. And the relationships that we build with them face to face are what lead us to them doing business with them. So prospecting, structuring that prospecting, it doesn't matter how much money you're earning, how much business you're billing, you've got to time block your prospecting, because that will lead to big business.
And it does. And if you do miss it out, then you're only playing catch up. So whatever you do this month, it's your business for what's going to follow for the following month,
or even the month after,
So because it's continuous, the follow-up is continuous. I mean, sometimes it could be 2-3 months. I've seen a situation where it's been a year.
100%.
And then you finally got it, but it's got to start somewhere, and that structure has to be, and that's, you've got to be disciplined to actually perform that on a regular basis. It's repetitive, but it does bring in the stock that's required, and the lifeblood of real estate is stock.
100%. If you've got no stock, you've got no business.
You've got nothing.
And I think that repetition breeds success. I think if you repeatedly do something, I know we've spoken about this multiple times. I think we put a picture into the group the other day, and it was a picture of Tiger Woods' golf club. It was his 8-iron. And it was the year when he won 5, was it a Grand Slam year, and he won 5 titles or something? I think that's the correct terminology. But anyway, the club had a worn ball mark smack bang centre at the bottom of the club. So it's basically the perfect sweet spot to hit the ball, and he'd hit it so many times it created a worn ball mark smack bang in the middle, which I think anyone who plays golf knows that's how hard that is to do. And that just shows the definition of excellence linked to repetition. He hit that ball thousands of times to the point where it was perfect every time. If you do that with prospecting, with following up, with fine-tuning your market appraisals, with developing your skills, your knowledge of the market, repeatedly doing this day in, day out, building relationships day in, day out, repetitively making sure that you perform, over the course of a year, you'll be unstoppable.
No, definitely. I'd love to be as good as Tiger Woods and hitting that sweet spot, but unfortunately don't get the time to do it. I go once a year. But no, it's the analogy is correct. It is doing it on a regular basis. You know, in order to be a master at something, you've got to continually practice and being good at it. And if it means prospecting you're scared of, continue doing it until you get best at it. Now, I come from a background, prospecting wasn't my forte. But you go give me a door now, you know, I know exactly how to handle it. Even 100%. Someone with my experience, you know, I'd put my hand up and say, but now it's all about that practice. Practice makes perfect.
I think, and the funny thing is as well, is prospecting has a number of different areas. So you've got the face-to-face stuff, you've got your outbound calls, and you've got your following up. You know, Ryan Serhant, he values follow-up so much. You've got to systemize your follow-up. So, you know, if you've got prospective clients, they've got to go into a spreadsheet or some form of follow-up system. That's got to be diarised. When you say you're going to call on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, you make sure that fucking phone's ringing Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Because actually, when the agents fail to sell the house, when they've not heard anything and there's been no viewings, and you're the one calling them because you know you can deliver the result, guess who they're going to go with? And it's as simple as that.
They hear from you more than they hear from their own agent, and that's a good enough sign as it is. 100%. And once again, it's numbers. How many times are you going to put yourself in front of that client? You know, market research says that you've got to give at least 6 documents, marketing documents, before they even recognize you. Well, imagine you've turned up once, not twice, 3 times, we've done it, and then we've called them more than one occasion. And when we say we're going to call you in 2 weeks' time, oh look, it's him again, or it's her again.
Well, that's the thing, is I think that, like, you know, with these things, you know, the only reason we contact people so much is because we know we're so fucking sure that we can deliver on it. Absolutely. So it's like, you know, they may as well just respond first time, because we're going to keep coming and
make both our lives easy.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it a lot easier. If anyone's listening who's we've visited any of your houses, just respond to us and let us list your house, because, you know, we're doing this dance. We can keep doing it, but we're the ones that are going to list it and sell it. And your agents aren't, and if they do, they may well have done an okay job. But if they haven't, we're the people you need to call. Now, one of the things that you mentioned just then was the amount of times that someone needs to come into contact with you. Now, that could be through marketing, could be through leaflets, that could be through the next subject, which is our final point, which is social media. Social media is the future of real estate. Now, the thing for me why it is so important is because it accelerates those touch points that you just spoke about. So there's 6 points of contact effectively that they need to have from you, because real estate is a touch sport, a contact sport. So the first might be a door knock, second might be a follow-up letter, but then they need to start seeing you post on social media. They need to see you on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, even TikTok, YouTube, and then they need to start understanding who you are, the credibility in your marketplace, a bit about your personality as well, because it's not just about being a robot. I know you've done a few TikTok dances recently, haven't
you? A few confidence, or confidants, I should say.
Confidants,
videos. And this is what it's all about. I mean, you've got to be confident in actually getting yourself out there. We were lucky. I mean, for me, it all kicked off at the Peak Performance, where we had those amazing speakers. And one thing they turned around and said was, don't worry about how you're going to look and what you're going to say. Just go out there and deliver it. And part of the reason I've joined the Tyra Nash Partnership, as I said before, it's because of the social media presence. And I remember Stephen Bartlett saying, your CV is your CV. It will sit in a cabinet gathering dust. No one's going to see it. Now, I used to take the approach, you know, let's be humble. Let's just keep everything to ourselves. But wait a minute, that's not the era that we live in.
No.
You know, everyone's getting themselves out there, and what better way to do it through social media? You know, one of the main reasons that I partnered up with Tyra Nash. So the key thing is getting your points across. In the old-fashioned way, you could deliver marketing materials to 100 doors. But now, thousands, if not millions.
You think we've got like videos that have just hit like 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. You're never going to get that audience. And I think that, you know, the great thing is that, you know, I've had sellers multi-million-pound property sellers who have watched a podcast of ours, and they've seen the knowledge that we're demonstrating, and they've gone, do you know what? I really want you guys to come and sell my house. right through to someone who's listed a house because they've seen that we've just sold an £8 million house or a £7 million house or a £5 million house, all of these that we're doing week in, week out. The credibility is laced through social media on every single platform. The reason we do it is because the reality is we understand it, we believe in it, we believe in personal brand. Corporate estate agencies will not allow, they might allow their agents to do social media, but they will not allow them to build a personal brand because that takes away from their corporate definition of a company. We are the opposite of that. We have a foundation with a luxury real estate brand of Tyrone Ash Real Estate, but the agents are building their personal brand and their personal businesses, and that is the key component here. Personal brand is the future of real estate, and for me, we are the pioneers of personal brand in luxury real estate in the UK. And I think that estate agents should be fucking shitting themselves because we've got them over a barrel. It's as simple as that.
Well, I had the pleasure of working with a marketing guru. She was the right-hand person for Richard Branson.
Wow.
And I had this debate with her, and I said, and she won't mind me mentioning her name. Her name's Brenda. And I said, Brenda, what do you believe? Is it people that make the brand, or is it the brand that make the people?
Oh,
I'm of the people's person. It's the person that makes the brand. And as you touched upon, you know, these big companies, they believe we're as big as we are. You know where to find us. Come get us. But what about those people that made you into who you are? You know, so, you know, and I'm glad you touched upon that, because we give power to the people. It's the people that make the brand, whether it's themselves, part of something, and this is what we're building here.
Well, I mean, I'll give you an example. I totally agree with the way in that. You know, I think that I'll give you an example. I see, like, obviously there's other luxury estate agencies and things, and they've got like a £10 million house, and they'll get like a load of likes on LinkedIn or whatever. And I'll be thinking, this house is like 16,000 square foot. It's like overlooking the bloody sea. It's got a helicopter landing pad. It's got an underground swimming pool. You name it, it's got it. And all it's got is some basic sales negotiator who's literally uploaded 3 pictures of it onto LinkedIn. Has gone, oh my God, look at this amazing house. I thought, so that is your marketing plan for that unbelievable show-stopping home. That is it. It's a fucking travesty. And anyone who owns a home like that and sees an agent marketing that, just come onto our social media platforms and see how we are marketing property. And then ask yourself, why the hell have we got a 70-75% success rate of everything we list going to sold, and your house has been sitting there for 12 months? Just ask yourself that. Go look at both of them, and that'll answer the question.
It's engagement, and the more engagement you've got, the better chance that you have. I mean, how many times have we been to the cinema and all of a sudden, wait a minute, we came to watch one film, but then we've got a bucket list of something else we're going to be watching. It's those trailers. It's capturing that audience. It's grabbing that attention, creating that bit of interest. And this is what we do. We create that desirability through that level of interest for them to actually pick up the phone and say, do you know what? I like the look of that. How many times have we had a coming soon video? And before it's even gone live, we've already got offers.
Oh, it's always literally daily. And like the thing is that I believe it, and I talk openly about it because I'm not worried about people copying. Many agencies are trying to copy and imitate us, and we know who you are, and we laugh at you hysterically in our WhatsApp groups. But the thing is that you can't compete with what we're doing because we're so far ahead. Because we don't just market a property, we market every stage of that marketing property. We've got like 4 or 5 different videos per property, plus 4K wide angle photos. Plus then we've got a pricing strategy that's far more effective than a local agent can do. You know, the whole thing is a big, massive campaign designed to get owners the best possible price. And I think when they engage with us and they hear it, they're absolutely blown away. And, you know, the currency now, as you mentioned, yes, it's money at the end, but at the start, the currency is attention, and we dominate the attention space.
No, definitely. And I think if we can achieve that, then the prospect of getting what the vendors ask for, if not beyond, it just creates that bit of extra reassurance to say this is what we're going to be delivering. We mentioned obviously the coming soon videos. We then go on to do the full video tours, you know, and that's a bit more engagement. But it really does show the level of knowledge that we spoke about and how confident we are in actually delivering the property that's on hand here. Because yes, it's great to know a property and you can stick it on Rightmove, but to actually describe, you know, like we did on that big mansion of ours,
The one you sold.
We went through the description of, you know, you could do this, you could do that. Yeah. We actually gave people ideas of what could be done with the space. Yeah. We haven't just presented a space.
It's not just
this is photos. What you could do with the space.
Yeah, we're not just sticking it online, hoping for the best. Oh yeah, £5 million house, few photos online. Come on, is that the best you got? But then you think to yourself, how motivated is someone going to be when they earn £500 for selling it? They're not. They're not going to use all their commission to do like the marketing, and are they? And the company ain't going to do it. So it's like, that's why there's no content being created. That's why they can't do it. And you know, I love it because this is like, you know, if we launched Tyra Nash Real Estate and it was in the middle of New York City, we'd be up against some serious players. But we're not. We're up against the likes of fucking high street agents. They are absolutely shambolic. And when I see how they operate day to day, and I see, I mean, God, I drive up, like, you know, I drive down Kings Road in Chelsea, I drive down different high streets, and I see them and they're stood outside and they're having a fang outside the office, and they just look like life's giving them a big slap around the fucking face. And I just think to myself, I'd feel the same. I'd feel the same because, you know what? Why you're not going to be motivated? Why are you going to be motivated? You could sell one of the most beautiful houses in southwest London for £4 million. And you'd probably earn about 500 quid, 700 quid. I wouldn't even get out of fucking bed for that. So it's like, you know, but where's the motivation? And then you got our agents. I mean, I know you won't mind me mentioning, but the property you sold in Essex, you earn like £40,000 for selling one house. They don't even get that in a year. It's nuts. Like, and you know, that is what we're talking about. So if anyone wants to know the fundamental differences of what, and we do go on about it a bit, but I don't give a shit, is that, like, you know, why you use us ahead of a high street luxury agency, it's because, yes, it's the knowledge, yes, it's the credibility, we're more organised, we're bigger on social media, but also we're going to fucking get that thing sold for you. I mean, look at the financial interest we've got in selling that property versus the guy who clocks off at 6 o'clock.
No, definitely. I mean, look, what you put in is what you're going to get out. You know, and the question is, how far do you want to take this? You know, how many industries actually have an uncapped earning? But being part of partnership, you are not getting taxed like I used to get taxed, up to 50%.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking. You know, you treat that business like it's your own. And then when you open that payslip, 50% of that is just gone to the tax man.
Yeah.
You know, so you know, to be working for someone and then paying that level of money, if you are at the top of your game.
Well, I think the biggest way, you know, and just to kind of say for anyone who's maybe potentially like in a high street role, it's not, listen, we're not saying you're bad at your job. That's the funny thing is, it's just that you're in a structure that unfortunately doesn't allow you to be the best you can be. And that is one of the big things. Like, even just to give you an example, even if you earn like 100 grand a year, which, you know, I don't even know any structures where you could, but let's just say you earn 100 grand a year in high street agency. Like Sam just said, you're going to be taxed effectively 50% of that. You know, I mean, you're going to be taking home like 4 grand, 5 grand max. Come on, like at that level, when you get to a level you're earning for 100 grand a year, you're probably driving a Range Rover, you're probably renting a relatively expensive place. You're left with you're not even got £1 grand a week to spend. Like after your outgoings go out, you pay your gym membership, you go for a couple of nice meals in Mayfair, you're basically fucked and back to zero when it comes to the next month. And you better hope there's some more commission coming through. And you'll have had to do a lot of business to get 100 grand a year's worth in.
Look, I spoke to someone a few weeks ago, and you know, he had the pleasure of telling me, you know, I'm on 55 grand now, and I said that's great. But I turned around and said to him, I was earning that 21 years ago. I mean, I don't know if I was rude, but I was just saying it as it was. Yeah, and look, if you have got that winning mindset, you are driven, then who's to say that you have to stop at that level? I remember I was on a 6-figure salary after, 2 years? Because I wanted to be the best. Because I was driven to deliver everything that I believe what it takes in order to be the best. And the numbers obviously speak for themselves. You know, there's obviously a lot of drive behind that level of success. And sometimes you need people that say you can't do it. You know, people that say that you can't do it and you want to prove them otherwise.
I think a lot of what's been trained into people, because you get the people a bit like us, we always want to step out of our comfort zone and push ourselves to the next level. I think the biggest thing and a lot of the drivers as to why we do these podcasts is because I think people have got to look at themselves and realise they can do more. And, you know, when you are in those jobs, and it doesn't just have to be high street agents, it can be a normal sales job, it can be even just a different career that you're not happy in. You know, we've got people in this, you know, Alex was running a fast food kind of, or meal preparation company. Reese, my brother, was a plumber. Chloe started off working in Amazon. You know, like, no one's had a perfect CV coming into this. Real estate is something that you learn, you self-develop, and your effort levels drive that knowledge through to get you into a level of earning and a level of business that the corporate world just can't produce. And you know, anyone who's listening to this, if you've got that belief that you can do it, get in touch with us, because you know there's commissions like what we were just talking about that you just earned that, you know, are waiting, basically. So look, we won't take it on any more than Samad, won't take it on anymore, but look, I want to really thank you for this. You know, really enjoyed having you on. Some amazing points, and yeah, there's been some our top 5 kind of real estate tips for the luxury real estate agent. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thanks again, Samad.
Brilliant.
Top man.
Thank you.